Are we live? Wait. Wait, I'm live. I'm live? No, not quite. Hold on. Hold on. We are live now. We are live now. Alright, we are live now, folks. It's gonna be short stream. I know it's late, but late better than never, right? Alright, we're gonna play Rapid. Maybe even 2 games. It's funny, I know, but 2 games. 2 games. Alright, we're gonna proceed with E4. Actually, this is not a bad rating. 9 months ago. 9 months ago. Yeah, we don't have a move. We don't have a move. He's only 1800 in Blitz. I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't know. Alright, somebody else. Somebody else. Speed, though. Speed. I don't know if I could see chat. I think I should be able to see it. I should see my chat. Alright. We have a game 6 months ago. I don't know what's wrong with this. Alright, we'll try E4. D4! Where's Mark Esserman when you need him? Smith Mora. Smith Mora accepted. Bishop C4. I think Bishop F4 attack on D6. B5. Wait. D6 was hanging? Oh, that's okay. We could E5. That's fine though. Alright, we could possibly take. We could take. So Rook D2, we get back the pawn, which I'm a little bit surprised by this, but anyways, there's knight E5. Is B5 attacking on the bishop on C4? There's no stats here. Alright, never mind. Never mind, alright. So bishop B3 getting out of the way, which makes sense. He's probably putting some pressure here. Knight A5 maybe. So we play Rook D1. This feels like it's a bit draw, but he could push. E4 could be a target. Rook D8 wouldn't surprise me. I mean, it's a quick draw offer, but he's not going to take it. Hey, welcome in, welcome in. Welcome in. It's all about E4, B4. Bishop C2, knight C4 though. It's not the greatest idea. Not good. Not good. Might take knight F4. What I'm doing here? It's knight F4. Wow, he took here. Knight F4 anyway. I mean, this is a plan. Sometimes it could get difficult. Yeah. What to do here? Knight C4. We are down a pawn, and it's not great here. Down a pawn is extremely difficult. Yeah, takes on e5. And why he's taking time on knight takes c5? 6 months ago, yeah. h6. h6. This was hanging. We could play here, g5, yeah. g5, this position is not, it's not what I want. Knight takes, threatening takes on f3. Defending, attacking. We're gonna resign this one. I mean, honestly, this guy, I'm a little bit suspicious about him. Anyways, it's another game, as much as we can. It's probably gonna be the same guy. I mean, nobody's... Nobody wants to play Rapid except me and this potential guy that we don't know if he's legitimate. We'll see. Usually I'm wary about people who are 6 months, you know, like have a high Rapid rating and do only like play Rapid and they only have like an account like for 6 months or even 9 months. And they only have like small amount of games, like low amount of games, and you just never know. I mean, someone like Mark Esserman, I mean, he doesn't play Rapid or anything, but he plays tons of like almost like 40,000 games even before that. So a trusted games like playing a lot of games. It's a good way to measure. You know, it's basically you know, a good sign that somebody is being here for a long time. But here's the issue: we have a high rating. We're waiting for a game, and it's difficult finding a game once you have a high rating. I mean, all I'm doing is 10 minutes. Not my stats are. I mean, it should just find a game. Anybody who's even low rated. Try it again. All right, we found somebody. 24 hours ago. I mean, this is actually. I mean, the issue is I cannot find people who play like tons of games. Six hours ago, like three months ago. We need somebody who was like a couple years, you know. Couple years. I'm 24. Do you think is it actually you talk about like Rapid? Like, is it Rapid or USCF, Feta rating? I'm back to the same guy. Back to the same guy, and we'll try hard against him. We'll see what happens. So this is actually Trompowsky opening. And he's sinking already, and that's a bad sign. Takes d5, may as well pre-move it. Yeah, it's doable, of course, if you do a lot of if you do a lot of puzzles. I mean, still 2100 is still like low in Rapid. I think the only way to improve to get 300 points, that's gonna be like doing a lot of like Rapid. I mean, a lot of like puzzles, you know, and you know, studying puzzles pretty much. I mean, I wouldn't be saying openings or anything. I mean, you could see the openings are not really relevant so much in, you know, between 2400s. It's all about the tactics. All right, so he could castle here. Typically in this line, I give the bishop pair, but some dynamic stuff could happen. Like I usually play knight f4 and knight h5. It could get tricky. But typically it's good for Black. You know, if Black knows what he's doing, which my opponent, I have no idea. So e5. Alright, takes. Pawn takes is possible. So we have queen h5. It's probably castles. Some kind of knight h5. Alright, we could check queen f7. We could take. We could play for dynamic stuff like knight c4, trying to take control over the squares. e5, knight d5. He wants to play d5 himself. So we play knight c4. You know, if he plays d5, we just play knight b6. He could play knight c6. This is still playable. Knight b6. Knight d7 is not a great move. Knight takes d6, check, and then you take the bishop. Then this has to be good for white in this kind of line. King e7. Still have this. He's probably going to play knight d7 next move. So we play here, rook e7. We could also, we don't have to take right away. I mean, I have it next move. I'm assuming he's going to play here or here. So maybe I could gain a tempo by moving a piece. Bishop e2 or something. This one is d5. We don't get anything. I could also consider this bishop c4. This is still d5. You're not really attacking on e6. I mean, after d5, he's protecting. Alright, bishop e2. I'm assuming knight c6. Or you could play this. Alright, takes, rook takes. So this move is, I mean, maybe knight e5, but, you know, again, e5 allows knight e5. That's a good score for the knight. This may be balanced right now because, you know, it's like bishop opposite color bishops. It feels like it's equal. Maybe it's a bit concerning how to defend, like maybe knight c5, bishop takes c4. I'm assuming it's d5 and some kind of knight c5. We play here. Again, d5 is a move, but you have to be careful. I don't think this sack works. Maybe just like, usually the sacks could work if you have 3 pawns for it. You know, like if d5 takes. b6 I don't understand. I think was d5 and then knight c5. So the knight gets to b3 and instead of knight sitting on d7. There's always g4 tricks. Perhaps we wanted him to take so we could weaken up e6. If he doesn't take, if he plays here we take, so maybe it's g4. No, I do both. I do both. I stream both. Today I have no time, so I figured that it's probably easier. It's probably easier to stream in YouTube. But yeah, maybe starting from tomorrow I would do early streams. Maybe we're back to like 2 streams. So maybe I could do like streaming in Twitch at night, maybe, and YouTube in the morning, something along this lines. Vice versa. It doesn't have to be something specific, but it's something along that line. So he took on g4, which is surprising. So he won with knight c5. There's actually some kind of check here, but it just may not do much. But check. The idea is if he takes bishop takes c8. But if we could continue, maybe it's like knight f4 again, attack on d6. So I could still check. Oh, maybe I could take on b6. So b6 is hanging. So here knight takes b6. So maybe he's legitimate after all. So we check, and then we take on b6. I mean, maybe you could take this way, but we take the rook. So knight takes b6 is huge. Alright, we take on b6, it's a pawn. Should he go here, it's a5, or even knight takes c4. Actually, knight takes c4 is actually the most concerning. But he's trying for tricks, maybe some bishop move, and then I could lose my bishop on g4. So I have to move out of the way. The real question is where? King h1, maybe king h1 allowing knight e4, and then he attacks on f2, so maybe it's king f1. You may have to move the king, not so much the bishop. Because if you move the bishop, let's say here, it's bishop, some kind of like discovery, and there's a rook check on g1. So it's probably easier. There's also a trick, so you play here after king f1, I have a check on h5, so maybe it's here. So he could try this, but he would just lose because of bishop check, and then I grab the bishop. He's probably gonna see it, of course. There's also rook takes d6 now. Yeah, and that's the only direct way of defending. So e5. Oh, knight b3. Okay, the knight is annoying though. Knight is annoying on b3. So maybe he has some tricks up his sleeve here. So knight b3. Okay, so he's attacking on here and attacking on g4, so I could play here. So defending the bishop and also defending the pawn. This may be the last game though. I'm looking at the clock and it's going to be very short, I know, but tomorrow we should have more time. All right, I see knight takes d5 now, and if something like here, attack both pieces same time. This should be a good deal though. Takes. I think he's gonna take here though. I suppose he's gonna take on b2. Keep up the stream. Nice. Welcome, welcome. Welcome. That rook takes b2 is annoying. It's annoying. I mean, he's not going to take here because rook takes d5. He's eventually going to grab one of the... Actually, knight d3 is still possible. So maybe here, knight d3, defending. And still knight b3. This is still very annoying stuff. I could also play here, threatening knight takes c4. The knight is gonna be troubling here. Maybe I could play rook e2, but the point of rook e2 is, I mean, the knight is coming to b3 the next move. I'm just giving b2 an extra protection, but I may regret rook e2, but we'll see. It's mainly defending b2 should I move the knight somewhere. I stopped watching Twitch streaming because it legs me off. Oh. So I think it's nice to be able to watch live shows. Yeah. I mean, I'm keeping both options open for everybody. I mean, there are some people just watch... I mean, I know a lot of people just watch like YouTube on demand, like they don't care about streaming, and it's better deal for some people because it gets to the point, right? Even if it's like it could be small stream or I mean small video, not stream but small video, but it gets to the point faster maybe. And there are people who like streaming, right? So we try to do it all. We try to do it all. So he's actually trying to take on b6. All right, we're gonna get spicy here. We're gonna sack. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it works. It's more like a bluff. So this may be like unclear because I'm taking some pawns in the way. If I'm able to take one more pawn, then it becomes like interesting. I mean, I still believe knight d3 is a move. So he plays knight e6, but I suppose I have check, right? And we have here, I could take one more pawn and rook takes. Or rook takes here, as a matter of fact. Knight g5, rook check, eyeing this one. So I took one more pawn and it's a critical pawn. So I'm actually threatening here. You might be not able to defend properly because this actually wins the knight if it's white to move. So he may have to do something crazy like this. And it's good that my king is sitting on f1 like a light square, so he doesn't have like a bishop check or anything to take my rook on h7. So things are really... It's still probably unclear, but you could see the amount of pawns are piling up here. Alright, so I'm assuming he's going to do this. I'm going to take... I'm counting on my pawns. So if I play here, he takes, rook takes, here, rook c6. Some kind of 94. Bishop e2. He takes here, we take here, a6 is under attack. So I'm between those two moves. Bishop here. Here? What's the point? Oh, there's here. That's great. Oh, maybe it's a mistake by me. All right, let's do this. He's gonna play knight d2. Still unclear. Rook e4. Rook e4, he's gonna take... I'm assuming here I take... This is very interesting. Rook c5. How many pawns? How many pawns do I have? This is actually difficult for black. If I take this c4 pawn, the real question is, could this be end up in a draw though? If everything is traded, then you could see that this massive pawns could, you know, it's going to be rough. But I could see some dynamic stuff happening here. Bishop b6 is take. Hey, welcome in. I mean, I'm going for rook takes. Bishop b6. Here. So he wants to take here, but take it. I think if rook takes here, rook check, we take this one. If he goes for this ending, we have plenty of pawns. We're gonna go for those. Bishop b6 maybe, but king b3. Yeah, if anything, it's maybe a draw, but I'm actually trying to win because of the amount of pawns that I have. Sometimes a piece would not be relevant against pawns, right? I mean, pawns typically could promote. This one is met by rook c6, so this is not easy. So we could play here, and I think it's this move, because rook c6 is coming in. I have to watch out, though. We could trade rooks here, which is fine. The real concern is the a6. We'll see. There's also time. This time involved here. h4. Maybe we could distract him with this h-pawn. It's not easy to move the pawns fast enough. So he still has to be careful. Like a move like here is met by here. So this is still difficult. Okay, we'll play here. This is gonna be bullet chess in a couple of minutes here. 1 minute. He's trying to play this, I suppose, but this is actually gonna be an issue. This is rook d2. Rook d2. I have to be careful about rook d2. He plays here. I don't understand this one. Is takes here. Bishop b6 is rook c6. This one is here. King c4. Yeah, this has to be. Yeah, he lost a turn by here, which he should have probably played rook d2 anyway. Again, this is met by here. If he goes here, is rook b5, and then eventually get to play c4, which is actually key move. Okay, so we could actually give this one out. So should he trade? Should probably play c4, but here. So c4, so I could put my pawns in light squares. Still not easy though. He repeats. Well, yeah, my concern it was a draw. I think we'll see with the computer. This is actually my last game, but let's see what the computer feels. I mean, my concern was a draw. Yeah, here's a draw. Yeah, this feels like a draw to me, unfortunately, even though I had to keep this h-pawn, but he's gonna win it. So here, maybe it's h5. Maybe I missed h5 here. So h5, he goes anywhere. Let's say, then he play rook b5. Yeah, this actually feels like what makes more sense here. So he doesn't go, even if he goes after the h5 pawn, like later, let's say he plays, it's white to move. Let's say black to move, it's black to move. So if, let's say play here, there's some tricks from b8. And the idea is you cannot really take on h5 easily. So let's say he plays here, then you could play e4. The point here, king takes is rook check, you win the rook. If he takes here, then you could trade. This is actually winning. We're f5 first, and then supposedly here you take on h5. So now the king is marching forward along with the pawns. So once the king goes here, it's winning, technically, because you could use like this 3 pawns, you know, moving forward. The reason it was a draw in the other line, because my king is not fast enough. Like once you go here, if you push the pawn fast enough, let's say you push it here as king e6, my pawns are not moving fast enough. Like they are frozen, meaning that I have to play king f3, then it's king f5, and that's actually a draw. And something like here is bishop c7. The pawns are not going anywhere, even though the c pawn is moving, but it's not gonna be. And then here you could just simply take. So. And even taking here, you could always argue that e6 here, try to get to b5 is still too slow here because he just hug the pawn on time. The only way to win is just h5, supposedly h5. So maybe even before that. Oh, king e5. Yeah, that's actually a big mess by me. So this is actually better move because the king is already in a better situation on e5. On e5. So let's say he plays here, it's just maybe even king d5. If this move is rook c6, right? It's rook c6, and I suppose it's rook f6. And now we are back to trading, maybe even trading e4. But e4 is much stronger move. Because technically if here we are attacking the bishop, this is actually winning. Because now you could even take on, you could go after this a pawn. So let's say here it's c4. Now the king is already in a better situation on c4. You don't have to take on a pawn, but it's just you start moving your pawn fast enough. So the idea is like c5 or king d7. c5 is not winning here? Yeah, it is also winning. So now you're dealing with 3 pass pawn. So typically bishop could stop most passed pawns. I mean, I've seen an endgame like this, equivalent to this one, where my opponent had like a bishop and he was able to stop all of them. Like it was really equivalent to what you're seeing. I think my opponent had maybe like a pawn at h7 or something very, very close to this one. And according to the engine, it was like a draw, you know. So the piece sometimes could... So I when I was playing the game, I said like a piece may not be good enough versus pawns, but it always depends on the position itself. Like how is your king is advanced? Where is the pawns are they in the 7th rank, 6th rank? Are they like in the, you know, like all the way on f2? So I could consider this f2, b2 is like really passively placed. They're not like advanced on f5, d5. So if the pawns are moving fast, it's always gonna put you ahead of your opponent, right? So here apparently my pawns are like in this situation still like not moving fast enough. Before, I'm just checking with the engine before. Here it was a tricky situation. I think here though I feel like yeah, bishop c8 was a big miss. I actually knew this when I was playing. So bishop c8 is actually pretty strong because let's say he plays here, bishop takes e6. This is actually 100% winning. Because now you want to move, take on c4, and the a-pawn is just moving. And you don't have to trade, you really don't have to trade rooks to win. You could just win like this, with the rooks on. Wait, what happened here? There's also another line. It's funny that it doesn't want me to take on g6. It just wants me to keep on with the rooks on, like some kind of rook h4. But what is rook h4? Like, this is a hard move to make from human perspective. The rook feels like it's trappy on h4. I don't actually understand this move very well. I mean, I can understand rook h8. And here it's probably some kind of king g7. Or I could understand taking, which makes perfect sense to me, but... So here, this is actually good. Yeah, rook h6 was the only move. So should we... Here, after knight e4, king g2 was a move. And it's actually a draw here, which is fascinating. Like, it doesn't matter what you do. Bishop c8 was the only move that wins. So it doesn't matter what I really do here. Whether I play king g2 or bishop f3, this leads to a draw. That's fascinating. He's just playing knight d6. And then rook e4, rook takes b2, bishop takes c4, and then bishop takes a5. Something like this. Yeah. Yeah, this is actually a draw, and it's an easy draw here. And the reason I say this is an easy draw as opposed to the other line that we played during the game is because the rook is really active on b2, and also the pawns are not moving. If your pawns are not moving, it's a drawback. Again, it depends on the situation, but he has a piece, right? And my opponent has a piece. If this is like a rook pawn ending, like if we replace this bishop with, let's say, a pawn at d7 and a pawn at e7, for example, and he still have a6, this may be good for white because of the two passed pawns like e3. Let's say pawns here, pawn here. So if we have these two passed pawns like this going this way, and it's a rook ending, then it's good for white. Rook ending without the piece being up, like we replace this bishop with a pawn, right? But since I'm down a piece, the situation does change dramatically. You do have the passed pawns. As a matter of fact, I have 4. If you think about it, there's one here, one there, one there. For 4 passed pawns, technically you could win, a lot of games with just like one pawn. I mean, in my career, playing tournaments throughout, over like 30, 40 years. 40 years is like too much. Maybe let's put it 20 years. So 20 years, I sometimes would win games based on one pass pawn. Like maybe this e pawn would be enough for me to win, technically, depending, like a pass pawn in general. I consider pass pawns like a huge asset, and it is. And typically I could grind my opponent in a situation where I could just win a game, even if it's an equal amount of pawns. But if the pawn is passer, technically I may have a closest chance of winning, depending on who I'm playing though. The exception here, you have 4, and I cannot win. That's because the piece, the bishop, is, still acts like as a way of defending against these pass pawns. If the pawn now is like, let's say on c6, if we replace the pawn on c6 and then the bishop is on c7 stopping it, for example, then we may have a different conversation that maybe white could find a way to try to win. But again, there's also another concern. I think this is the reason it's a draw, is rook c6. So e6 is not going to be crucial, but so I guess the reason it's a draw, like something like here, king g7, rook takes a6, and then some kind of bishop c3. You still have 3 pass pawns here, right? If the pawns are fast enough, let's say they are on e6 and d6, then it is possible that white could win. But since the pawn already on f2, you may have to be careful about like a move, like a bishop e1 move, right? Let's say if I play something like rook e4. You may have to be concerned about this move, right? Technically there's still rook g4 and rook f4, but it's one way to harass my position because the pawns are not moving. So let's say here, but the king is getting active. I'm just giving a bunch of moves here just to prove my point. So here, your pass pawns are not going anywhere. And even though you have 3, not just 1, 3 pass pawns, they are not really helping. That's because he has a piece, right? If there's a couple pawns here, let's say a pawn here, and no bishop, you have 3 versus 2, you might win. White could still win because of the 3 pass pawns. But bishop or knight, additional piece is always going to be like some compensation for the pass pawns. And that's the reason why it is a draw. And it's a good explanation to explain why it's a draw. I'm just looking before to see if my sack works. This is actually a draw, which is funny, right? The computer feels like this is a draw. And it wants knight takes d5. So my move was actually okay. It felt like white has to do this sack in order to like keep up, right? It just didn't like 96 much. It's just like knight b3, and the knight b3 move is actually interesting because it goes after e5. So let's say you play here, king g6, bishop f3 or something, and then rook e7. It's a computer line, and here is a draw. It's funny that this is a draw. If I'm playing this in OTB tournament, I would probably push with the white pieces because you still have tremendous amount of pawns. Like you always have to be careful. Bishop e4, h7 is hanging, and then we are back to like having multiple pass pawns. For human perspective is one thing, computers is another thing. When they are dealing with this kind of endgame, So takes 96 is dubious, just because of bishop e2. I have no idea why I didn't do this move. Like this move is very easy to find. United States. Yeah, so bishop e2 is just simply winning. You don't have to go for rook check even. This move is also winning. Apparently here, this is still winning after knight g5 here, and I think it's rook h4 that I don't even understand yet. Like I'm still trying to figure out, is it f4 maybe the idea? Some kind of f4 or bishop e2. Oh, maybe that's the point, you're keeping an eye on c4. So when you play rook c5, you potentially take on c4. It's funny that it wants rook e4. That's how fascinating this position is. Here is actually some kind of tricks. Knight f3. You have to deal with this main idea here, rook takes. You still have to be careful, right? There's still 2 pieces. A piece here. It's rook e4. Rook e4, so you could take with the other rook. You not take with the... But I don't understand rook h4 though. Like, it doesn't feel like what the point of rook h4? He's still pressuring. Maybe it just wants rook e4. So once you trade on, let's say c4, you could take back on c4. I don't know. I'm beginner in chess. So what do you think I should start? Yeah, so beginners has to study like tactics, nothing else. It's all about tactics. So doing a lot of puzzles. It doesn't matter which site. It could be Lead Chess. It could be chess.com. It could be like puzzle books. all you have to do is do a lot of puzzles per day, you know, and it maybe even more than playing games. You know, I always tell beginners it's not about like playing a lot of games; it's about studying, you know, tactics. Because if you play tons of games, think about it this way: you're gonna do the same mistakes over and over again, tactical mistakes. Even if you play Nakamura, you're still gonna make the same mistakes. You're not gonna improve. What's gonna make you improve is actually understanding why you make the mistakes. Like you make a tactical mistakes, like you're dropping pieces. You know, you're dropping pawn, you're dropping a knight, you're dropping checkmates, you're dropping a fork, skewer, back rank mates. I could go on, right? The point is, once you do puzzles, it trains your brain how to avoid these tactics, like how to, when the opponent is trying to apply it on you, you always you could see it coming and avoid it, right? Like you counterplay it or you defending it, and also make threats on your own, like creating some tactics. Now if your opponent doesn't see it, that's great, but if he sees it, then you go to the next step where you try to, you know, create more and more tactics. So in order to improve, it's not so much to play games, it's do a lot of puzzles, right? And that's actually what I tell people to do is puzzles, you know, more than playing. I want to reach sales, you know, how much time do you think? It depends on how much you work on your game. I would say like for me, it took me like every day for like a couple of years to improve. I mean, I started playing chess in 1998, 1999 maybe. First tournament was on a USCF. You know, USCF is the US, right? I became a master in 2015. So you do the math, right? I mean, I had no coach, nothing. So it took years just to get to the master level. I actually remember Nakamura playing when I started out playing. Like Nakamura is actually younger than I am. Just slightly younger, but I remember seeing him, like he wasn't a grandmaster back then, right? So, and I remember him flying all across, even my state, and he got better. I did not get better, and I remember seeing Hans Niemann and all these people used to come here. Mark Esserman, yes, Josh Friedel. I don't know. He's also like a GM now. So these people used to play during my time. And they became better player and they did not. I mean, I only stopped as a master level. Like, I remember seeing Hans used to be like 24. I was 22, he was 24. So we were like 200 points apart. You know, so 200 points apart. And look at him right now. Look at him right now. Look at my level, right? There's a huge gap. But yes, in order to improve, it's only tactics. It wouldn't be openings at all. Like, it's no openings for you, no ending games. You know, watching Magnus play is not gonna gonna be any like it's not gonna be helpful for you at the present time. Anybody who's below actually 2,000, I mean, it doesn't have to be like 1,000. It's all about tactics, studying tactics. I mean, I would say like 99% of the time. And it's not about playing, because some people assuming that playing really matters. It does, but it depends on your level. Like if I play Grandmaster in my level, it's going to be beneficial for me to play Grandmaster. Like the more I play them, the more I could learn from them, because I'm not going to make like a tactical mistakes so often. It's going to be like a struggle with positional means. So it's still going to be like they have the upper hand, but you could still keep up a fight. But, you know, from beginner's perspective, they're always going to lose based on small mistakes. I mean, big mistakes, excuse me. And, you know, you're not going to be, if you play Grandmaster in your level, it's not going to be anything no improvements. As a matter of fact, I think it's almost like zero. The better you get, the better you, and then the closer you get to like playing people who are maybe like 200 points ahead of you or higher than you are, then maybe you could learn from them. That's actually how I improved. Once I become like 2,000 USCF, which is maybe like 1,900 FIDE rating, I used to play masters, so they were like 200 points ahead of me. And the more I played them, the more I stopped beating them. Like they used to beat me all the time, then I start beating them. So I became a master myself. Like if I start beating them, then I'm a master myself, right? So because I started playing a lot of them, the more I played the low rated players, the more I was beating them anyway. So when I was, let's say 2000, I was beating 1800s. So I wouldn't be learning much from them, like 1800s, because they still do tactics mistakes. I'm 2000, so my tactics were still they were really good at that level. In order to get to 2200, like 200 points is difficult. It's not easy. I had to do like a lot of more work, so it's not like tactics anymore. It's more like, end the game study, positional study, like opening studying, in order to get this 200 points. I could have went for more. I mean, I still have the ability to go for more, actually. You never know, but anybody who's below 2000, honestly, fit a rating or anything, it's still gonna be all tactics. And people who are starting to play the game yesterday, or like, were very new to the game, is always going to be tactics, nothing else. I keep telling people this, and sometimes people like do not like the idea of studying. They feel like we could play more, and then you don't improve. Also, having a coach really matter, because it's a shortcut. I always tell people, like, I never had a coach, but what if I did have a coach back then, right? I would probably be at least an IM, if it's not GM by now. I mean, that's the truth of but I never had one, never had a coach. So because a coach would probably be, and back then it was like $10 an hour, like, back in the day it was only $10 like an hour, and I was like, why should I pay $10? I paid a lot more money than this, and all I get was a master level. I was nowhere near like an IM. So a coach would be a shortcut of a lot of things. If you know the coach, you're comfortable with him, he could take you up, like all the way up, like even as a grandmaster level. Like you could hit like a grandmaster title if you have the coach and you have the time and you're young. You started young, and you continue like you continue studying, right? I knew some grandmaster who actually hit grandmaster level at an old age. It's possible. I was actually speaking with one not long ago, and he said I was an old guy that he happens to be hit like a grandmaster. He was an IM for a long time, and so it's possible. But again, it's all about studying and all about like chess is like this game. It's a game, and it's also a sport, but it's all about studying. It doesn't have to be like you have an high IQ. High IQ would help you out with blind chess, maybe with some studying, shortcut of studying. You see maybe more the moves fast enough, but what if you don't know what to do? Like you have an equal position, and you have no idea how to react. So studying is the key, just like anything else. I was just watching the finals, like in tennis, not long ago. Like, was it today? Like. The next star is the Spanish guy, or he's 18 he's 18 years old, right? The tennis guy, a star, and he's young, but he's playing the final, the Wimbledon tournament. But he's young, but he's training so hard. Like his training sessions are really like it's like Roger Federer and all these people. But he's young. He's only 18. It's not like he's like 25. So it's all about like studying. It's all about like practicing. It doesn't have to be like it is true. Nakamura himself keeps saying that his IQ is not that great. I actually disagree. I think it's good. It doesn't have to be great, but his argument is actually chess is not all about IQs. Like you could be dumb and still become a grandmaster. Technically, yes. If you do study, if you consider this game as a job, pretend you study this game as a job, right? Like you take this game like you're working full time. Then yes, you could improve. Like even if you're older. But how many people are gonna do this? Like how many people exactly are gonna pretend that this is gonna be like a job for them? and they're gonna work every single day for like 7 hours. So 7 hours a day, right? Like you do nothing else except playing, this game. So if you have a life, then it's become a problem. If you have a family, you don't need to have a family. As a matter of fact, most of my friends, that some of them they become like a grandmaster, and I am. Some of them traveled a lot, like some of them went to Europe so they could get their title fast enough, but they also did not get married intentionally. Like, yeah, do you want to delay the marriage? So there's no distraction, right? So they spent like a lot of years studying the game. Even when they were in college, they had to do like courses at night or something so they could just spend time studying. That's how the game works, just like any sport. Roger Federer used to say in tennis, he used to practice like 10 hours or something that crazy. It is, that's what it takes. It's all about studying, nothing about IQs. And not many people could do this. Unfortunately, not many people could do this. Maybe kids are able to do it. Like when I used to be a kid, I used to play chess for like 20 hours a day even. During the weekend, it's only going to be, playing and studying when I was like, 15, 16. And that's the reason why I got better. Like I had more time. I was young. I was able to play tournaments, even though I had no coach, but I was basically studying like hell. But I had the time it was on my side, back then. So study tactics and puzzles. Yeah. Until 2000, something, along this line. Once you get to 2000, then you have to look elsewhere. Once your tactics are pretty strong, then you may have to study like openings, then studying ending games. I remember when I was 1700 USCF, I didn't know what Lucina is all about, like Lucina position. I don't know if you guys could believe me, but I think I was 1700. I did not know what Lucina is all about, like the rook ending, like how you could win rook pawn versus like a lone rook. I did not know about it like when I was like improving player. I started knowing about it later, like once I got better. But before, no, like I intentionally skipped ending games. My weakness was ending games. It's probably still is kind of weakness. I mean, it's not so now. It's because I'm still like playing every day, and like I could still like win games, lose, draw games, saving games against stronger players even in the ending games. But in the past, it used to be like a biggest con. Like people would know that, oh, Stellar, we just play him and end the game, and then we beat him. But that's when you reach a certain level. Like I was 1700, so was the biggest weakness for me. But I started doing tactics. So tactics for me is like before I get to the end of the game, then I might be winning. So end the game wouldn't really matter. But yes, once you get to 2000, it's end the games, study, and then it's more like positional stuff. Positional stuff if you're really serious about being a master. And I think Germany, it's Germany, right? Germany's books. It seems to be engineered to study chapters. Yeah, I mean, it's a good books, but I would say like books are not for everybody. Like I know people doesn't like to read, by the way. I mean, I used to do like puzzles books back then, right? Like there was nothing, like there was no like chess.com back then, I'm talking about 1998. It's like dial-up, like we had dial-up back then. Chess engine, not really. I still remember Crafty, like Crafty being a big thing. And then Fritz, and then Shredder, and so back then it wasn't big. Computers weren't really that big, and some of the books that came in, they had some errors with some like computers lines were maybe like a mistaken. They were not really properly making the moves. Back at the day, like King's Indian used to be the big it used to be the huge opening. Now King's Indian was just top 10 in the world would never play it. Because like most lines are pretty good for white. But so again, it's yeah. If you don't like books, there's always online resources, coaching online, like games, watching games, any notation of games. Speaking about books, I mean, you want to hear a story before I get going. I know somebody personally. He's younger, not he's younger. He's much older than I am. Okay, like he's very old. He has more books than you could ever imagine. Like more books than Nakamura, more books than Magnus himself. Like it almost feels like he has a library of chess books, and he's much older than I am. Like, is he in his 70s? Maybe. Like I don't know. Like maybe he's that old. So he studied chess books for a long time, but he's still like 800. He plays chess more than I do. Like he played for longer time of period, and he had the chess books, right? So I always tell him like, okay, so what the point of these books? Like you have more books than even the world champion. He said, well, when I get the time, I usually read the books. Like, I mean, he has tons of books, right? When are you gonna read them? Like when exactly? At the retirement age? He was already retirement age, like 70. But the point is, I mean, he bought the books like in the past, so he has like a library of chess books, and I keep wondering why he can't improve, right? And the problem was he never get to study the books at all. Like he's not a fan of reading books. He never like finished the books, He's lazy reading them. He actually read a full books about like openings, but he never got to play the openings anyway. I mean, his tactics are bad, so openings not really gonna improve. He actually told me like he liked to play the Catalan because Magnus used to play it as well, and I was like, okay, you comparing yourself to Magnus. So there are some concerns that people like they treat books like as of like. Puts me to sleep. Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's books. Books may help, but you just have to like know where your weaknesses are and work on it. Like it doesn't have to be chess books. It could be like tactics online. Like and we have the resources. You could do like puzzles every single day on an iPad. It doesn't have to be online. And it's simply. It's just simply like you could just simply use tactics in a different way. It doesn't have to be books. Long story short. So this guy used to have tons of books. He read a lot of books, even though he claims that he's lazy reading them, but he never improved. And that's actually for like 30, 40 years. I mean, with the amount of books that he has, he's a huge candidate to become a world champion, right? I mean, honestly, like if I have this amount of books and he has the time, and you read this amount of book that he has, I mean, he has a full place of chess books. Like this is actually like I should have took a picture and claim. This is actually easily like I could easily say I've never seen anything like this before. Like how he could have like a full space full of chess books and he never improved, right? I mean, more books than Magnus. I could easily say that. But the level is equivalent to somebody who started playing the game from yesterday. So so obviously it's not about the books. It's not like how many. He never had a coach as well, so maybe that's actually an issue too. But the problem is it's not the books. It's not. It's not this you're lazy as well, but it's also like what to do. Like what exactly is your weaknesses to work on it. He bought like chess opening books, like it's not really like, I mean, he actually had like tons of Queen's Gambit books and he doesn't play the Queen's Gambit. And he has the Catalan books and, he played the Catalan, but he losing, losing before he reached the Catalan, so. But anyways, I need to get going. But the long story short, you need to know, like, you need to have the priorities in your mind, like what to do. You know, I need to know what to do in order to improve. So if you're low rated players, you just hit tactics hard. You know, and it doesn't have to be chess books. You could do like Puzzle Rush or something, or Puzzle Rush is probably good. Yeah, it's probably a Puzzle Rush. The survival mode, doing the first 50 would be nice, or first 30 depending on your level. It just teaches you patterns, and once you understand the patterns, once your patterns are pretty strong, then you could do the regular puzzles, because the regular puzzles is more lines, you know. If you can get 50, you could do lower, like let's say 40, 30, rinse and repeat. You know, rinse and repeat, meaning that once you finish the first 30, you could then start over. You don't have to like continue. Even though I could easily claim I've seen Made in 1 in 50. I see like Made in 1 in 50. I mean, I could actually shock you and tell you that I've seen some weird stuff in Puzzle Rush, but that's okay. Like, it's okay. But technically, you get the idea that, you know, the first 40, first 30, it's all about patterns. Once your patterns are pretty strong, then you could challenge yourself. That's how you should deal with this. I need to get going, folks. It's getting late, but I'm gonna be back tomorrow. We're probably gonna do like YouTube in the beginning, and then we're gonna do like Twitch on the late. Doing the easy ones, doing easy ones is really key. You don't want to do hard ones. If you cannot do the hard ones, you cannot do the easy ones. So you start slow, easy first. Once you get the easy ones, then you could challenge yourself, do the hard. It could take you a couple of months, even 1 year, 2 years to get the easy ones, to be honest. It depends on your level, how often you study. If you're young, you work, how often you do the work. So that's how often you do studying. Like, is it 7 hours a day or 7 minutes a day? That's what I mean by that. We're gonna talk more about it tomorrow, like more about, you know, what to do. But again, it's long story short, it's all about studying. If you study openings, you're kind of wasting your time, right? Even if you study opening for 7 hours, it's not gonna make you a better player. Openings is actually designed for like stronger players, believe it or not. And define strong. That's actually a different topic. We'll see. Maybe early stream. Maybe, I don't know, around 4. Maybe we'll see. 4 New York time, and then late, maybe 8, 9 in Twitch. We'll see. Something along this line. There's no specific hour. It's hard to put a cap or put like specific hour, but we'll try to do the best we can. All right, folks. I need to get going. I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Good night. If I could see where I'm at. Okay. Good night. I could see my stuff here. It was hidden somewhere. Good night, everybody. Good night. Take care.